You're welcome to Business Daily on Trust TV. I'm your host, Chamun Dabeng. Let's talk numbers. We're starting off with the stock market as of 6 a.m. this morning. You're welcome back. My name is Chamun Dabeng. Yes, today we're going to be taking a look at food inflation in Nigeria, as it so seems everything seems to be increasing in price. Well, food inflation in Nigeria has risen by over 100% in the last 10 years. Now we have a bar chart over there. We're going to run that across so you guys can see from 2011 down to 2021. Food inflation in this country has risen by over 100% in the last 10 years. And that is moving from 9.62% in November 2011 to 18.34% in October 2021. Now, the rising rate of food inflation is seen in the rising prices of food items such as rice, beans, bread, yam, vegetables, fruit, and eggs. Now, all of these things have gone over 100% between 2011 and the current year. Now, Nafisa Abdul-Al put together a report from Otaku Market, so let's take a look at that.
Everything is very, very cost in the market. As you can see, before, model of beans is 200 naira or high is 250. But now, model of beans is 1,200. The other one, 1,000. You can't even buy gari now. Is 700, 600. Red is 700, white gari is 600. Before, white gari is 150 in a mudu. Everything is very, very cost in the market. As I'm talking to you, in this market, you cannot see pepper, fresh pepper of 50 naira. But before, you even see 20 naira on. But as I'm talking to you now, you cannot see fresh pepper, 50 naira. You cannot see. Talk less of onions. You cannot see onions of 100 naira. As I'm talking to you, I'm not talking about dress or other things, but the food items is very, very cost.
Things are not cheap in the market. Things are getting higher every day. In fact, sometimes even the star Maggi that I went to buy yesterday, as of last week, it was 10,000 naira. Then this week is 11,500 naira. A carton of star Maggi. Then none is 10,000 naira. Before it was 8,000 something. So things are increasing. Look at the spaghetti that we used to sell 300 naira before, 280. Now it's 350. A carton is 6,600, 6,700. So okay, look at egg. Egg before we used to buy 800 naira per crate, but now 1,800 naira per crate, and we have the one of 1,700. So Nigeria is getting more worse and worse. It was when we were small that if they say Nigeria will be better, that is when we believe.
Some Abuja residents say life of average Nigerian is declining owing to increase of prices of life necessities.
If you enter this market today, I just bought some things now. I want to use familiar tissue, for example. I bought it 400 naira recently. I came to the market today, they said 600 naira. If you get something today, tomorrow the price is different. Honestly, it's not easy. I have 2 children, but I'm feeling it for those who have like more than 2 children. It's not easy surviving in this country now.
Everything is just at the increase, but I don't know. It's just God that will help us, because even me, while I came to buy some things, I was like surprising on all the budget I made. I end up spending more because of, I don't just know, but it's just God that will help us. Being a Nigerian, we bless God, no problem. Thank God for our leaders. But what can we do? because nobody is speaking out. The government are not speaking out. Nobody is saying. It's just they are comfortable of everything that is happening because it's not affecting them. So I feel because it's not actually affecting them, that is why they don't talk.
Nothing is cheap. Everything is cost. So things is very cost this December. This is not cheap. It's very cost. You can see guys now, everything just they cost. Tomato, everything just they cost. Everything cost. Nothing cheap. Nothing cheap again. Everything is cost.
The Nigerian government is reportedly planning to come up with stimulus that will crash food prices in the country. When that will happen is, however, still not certain.
As you can see by the video, many Nigerians out there are struggling to keep up with things that would normally be very cheap for them to purchase. So it's now affected the purchasing power of the average Nigerian. As it is, let's not forget that already Nigeria is the poverty hub of the world. And recent reports are actually stating that if things continue the way that they are, 6 million more Nigerians will be pushed further into poverty. All right, joining me in the studio today, I have senior economist, SPM professional Paul Alajeyo. Welcome to the show. Yes, so what are your thoughts on this food inflation? Now, looking at it, it's grown over 100% in the last 10 years. Now, that is just incredible. I mean, I'm sitting down here and I'm looking at the figures and I'm thinking to myself, oh, when I was back in school or when I was younger, these were things that you would buy something for 100 naira, like 100 naira pepper, and you would get a plethora of it. Now, the case is very different today. Now, what are your thoughts on it?
Well, first thing that comes to mind is the management of our economy in the last 10 years, the period the time frame you're looking at between 2011 till now. When you look at the minimum wage in 2011, minimum wage at that time was approximately 18,000 when it was increased. Today, it's about 30,000. Mm-hmm. The good news about minimum wage in 2011 was that it could buy 2 bags of rice. Today, 30,000 is struggling to buy a bag of rice. Mm-hmm. So it is not the figure that matters. It is the power, the efficacy of the money in the pocket. Mm-hmm. That's on one hand. On the second hand, when you look at what has happened, and that also maybe agree with 100% food inflation, mm-hmm. even more, even from this small example. Yeah. What was 18,000 now 30,000, and the 30,000 is even struggling to buy, mm-hmm. because the kind of rice we were buying for 2 bags at 18,000, 9,000 naira per bag is not what we are now buying at 30,000 naira per bag. Mm-hmm. It's crazy. Now, what are the factors that I think are responsible? Quite a number of things. Management of economy is mm-hmm. one. 2, FX. And people wonder, how is exchange rate? How does it affect food that we grow? It's been a question on a lot of people's minds. Yes, that we grow locally. The truth is that even though farmer goes to the farm, they also live in the economy we live in, mm-hmm. So they buy the clothes we want to wear. Mm-hmm. They buy the earrings we wear. They mm-hmm. buy the suits we wear. They don't wear suits. The shoes, they use the same vehicle. What was fuel? The cost of fuel in 2011, and what is it now? Mm-hmm. So that on one side. So economic management, how economy has turned out to be, mm-hmm. with very horrible economic implication. Within 2011 till now, we've gone into 2 recessions. 2 recessions. But that on another hand, the level of insecurity, and it affects farms, and the spread of insecurity. In 2011, what ate sway was Boko Haram, and it was more or less restricted into the northeast of Nigeria, mm-hmm. and particularly 3 states. Today, insecurity seems to be ubiquitous. You have it pretty much very close to us. Just yesterday, we had a story of something that happened on Abuja-Kaduna Expressway. Yes, where people were kidnapped. We have Northwest, North Central, the Benue states, Plateau states. Those are food baskets of Nigeria. You cannot talk of the kind of peace you had in 2011. Yeah. Then you also have Northeast, which of course you have really seen, even though government has done quite a lot to reduce the impact of Boko Haram, and what we hear. It's still very... But there are new level mm-hmm. of insurgents that we have now in the Northeast. So North is what we mention from time to time, but the new trend is now in the South. Southeast, nobody saw this coming. Southeast on Mondays, sit at home. You know, it's really disgusting. Farmers were going to sit at home, and quite a number of other things. A hold on every activity. Exactly. Now you have Southwest, where you still have some level of farmers, but you have kidnapping, you have banditries, you have farmer elders clashes. Then South is also not exempted, because you still have oil spillage, you still have one part or the other of Nigeria has one challenge or the other they are battling with. That's another major cause. The third major cause is logistics. You know, I just spoke with you about Abuja, Kaduna.
Cost of transportation, traffic.
Apart from traffic, insecurity,
condition of the roads, insecurity. Yes.
Then how much was it the cost of buying a trailer or food loader, 2011, and how much is it today? The value of Naira continue to deteriorate. We are not willing to pay more for food, we are not willing. We just feel this is food. Meanwhile, farmers need to transport these goods from the rural community where they are produced to urban center.
But either way,
and even road challenges, you have bad road, you have quite a number of challenges along logistics. The last, for me not to lose my thought, is the activity of the middleman. You also have middlemen activity. These are people who really don't produce, but they determine the quantity we get. If they decide not to go to the farm to bring the food to us, I'm sorry, we will just be there, hoping that food will be supplied. And let me put this to make it the fifth one.
So is it that they're intentionally creating some level of scarcity even when it's available?
Yes. They could create scarcity because we have to depend on them. And that is why government need to maybe find another way of making food available directly from farmers, so that farmers can even get the benefits of some of these. I give you an example on rice that you mentioned earlier. Rice paddy, this is the harvest season for rice, At the point of this production, rice paddy is supposed to be very low, maybe per ton, maybe 140, 160, 180,000, but that's not what you get. Why? Because you have to depend on aggregator, middlemen, who will then sell to the miller. Miller will mill rice through rice parboiling, rice drying before it goes into milling session. They will put all of the factors into cost. So you wonder, this is made in Nigeria. Why is it still expensive? Because middlemen that continue to cause artificial scarcity, we have implication on price. The activities, we have implication on price, and it will make prices to be higher. And that's just the way it is. That's just the way it is. So people will pay more. And the more people pay, the more complaint you get, the more National Bureau of Statistics report for headline inflation, particularly food inflation, which of course is now driving the overall inflation to about 15.99%.
All right. So let's take a look at food consumption in Nigeria. Let's see how much Nigerians are actually spending and the levels, where they're putting their money. That's their expenditure. Now, as you can see, food and beverage takes the highest bulk. Of course, you need it to sustain your own physical health. You need it to, get up every single day to have strength. You do need to eat food. And many of these figures are actually coming from families themselves and not just individuals. Because a regular family would have to feed maybe 2 children, 4 children, or even more. Now, looking at these figures, what are your expectations for the Nigerian populace itself? Now, there's been a lot of talk of a drop in inflation. Do you eventually see food prices actually coming down?
Well, National Bureau of Statistics also showed that food prices have started to ease. They said food inflation have started to reduce. But this is what people should understand about number. The people are expecting, but I went to the market last month. Food actually increased. What you should look at is what they are reporting is compare with last year, 2020, not this year. So what I think we should also check is what is month on month. Month on month show that the figure increased. Year on year show that the figure became relatively better. So we should compare month on month, quarter on quarter, and now compare that with year on year. So most of the time, what is popular, what I see that people talk about is the year on year figures. So people wonder, oh, they said the food inflation is now better. Now that the food inflation is better, but I just went to the market, price actually increased because last month maybe exchange rates got devalued and it had implication on prices. So there are different comparison that the National Bureau of Statistics present. So you cannot use what is presented for month on month, that's comparing what happened last month, talk about October with November, or say August to October. So you need to be sure of what they are reporting. Then quarter on quarter, second quarter versus third quarter, or third quarter versus fourth quarter. So we need to be sure of what they are reporting. So most of the time what you've seen is last year is the year of COVID, where you saw all manner of prices skyrocketing.
This was world over, it's not just in Nigeria.
And it's not just in Nigeria. So for me, when they said the food inflation is easing and we have started seeing inflation reduce, even though it's still very high at 15.99, approximately 16%, it's still very high. Why? Because it's not the target of central bank. Central bank is targeting between 6 to 9%, single digit. Even if it's 9.9, it's still single digit. But we are far off. We are almost double of the upper limit of that target. We are almost double. So we are still far off from what the central bank is looking at. So for me, I hope that government and private sector will do the right thing so that we can start seeing significant and impactful reduction in inflation, particularly food inflation, because people will consume no matter what the situation is. Even somebody who does not work, we still eat. You know, we call it autonomous consumption. Whether you work or not, you will still eat. So to remain alive, you know, you cannot fast your life to death forever. Even somebody in prison, it's a cost on government. Government will still provide food for them. That's how significant food is. And we just have to make it affordable for our population to consume.
All right, so we do have the NBS figures here on food inflation, and it's on a year-on-year analysis, or a year-on-year breakdown, pardon me. So it focuses on specific states, and it has the highest in rise year on year. So Kogi is taking the highest with 23.69%, followed by Gombe with 23.29% and Jigawa with 21.91%. And the lowest or the slowest in rise has been Edo State with 13.16%, Rivers with 14.46%, and Adamawa State with 15.42%. Now, what are the determinants? Why is it so high with, you know, these three states and then, you know, slower within those other states?
Well, Kogi particularly has remained a high inflationary state. This is not the first, the second, the third. It's becoming in perpetual for Kogi State. I remember I've spoken on some other platform why I'm worried about the food inflation and other headline inflation even in Kogi State, and what I think the state could do. So when you talk about inflation, you know, there are baskets of goods. For instance, food inflation, there are food baskets that has been selected by the National Bureau of Statistics. So all among these goods that has been selected, and there are respondents from Kogi State who are now giving answer or responses to say researchers about what they bought last year, which they have answered before, and what they are buying now. Then researcher will go and look at the difference. It's not because, oh, this year proximity to Abuja or this is southeast. No, it is how the people in those states, what they feel, what they are buying, the real thing that is happening to them, they are giving. So it's either that there are no sufficient supply of food, which is making price to go up, or maybe the prices there are just increasing, you know, because there are no logistics, there are no enough infrastructure to support transport and all of those things within the states that have been mentioned, that they have high inflation. But when you look at some of the states that have been mentioned, you will want to say that food particularly should be even cheaper in those locations, you know, but the opposite is the case that we have now. So for me, I think the state executives, they need to now be concerned, because this is not the first, the second, the third, that I've read reports, Kogi State particularly, you know, and I think the authority, yes, we need to do something really quick about it. And this, what they should do about it is not just for Kogi State, but perhaps the entire federation. We need to do something about food supply. We need to improve food supply. And as a policy, quite a number of policies could be made. In fact, policies have been made, but energy to implement some of the policies is another conversation entirely. One of the things I think Kogi State should do is to, from time to time, Kogi has coppers, you know, that goes there, and this can even be done at a national level. Most of these coppers are over 200,000. I think there are times where we have them about 250,000. The point is, how do we have copper farms? You know, so what is Kogi known for? Cash crop and food. You know, what can we produce with the help of coppers by providing security? The truth is that as a broadcaster, you are needed on farm. As an economist, I'm needed on farm. We have people who now have a second skill. Apart from medicine they've read, apart from mass communication, economics, they have a second skill so that when they leave NYSC, they may even want to practice. So is it cashew they are farming? Is it cocoa? Is it so? Government could find, and we have a lot of land that are nothing is happening on them. They are not organized.
All right,
you know?
Unfortunately, we do have to end the conversation here because we've run out of time. But like our guest in the studio said, there is, you know, need for the government to actually step in and take care of this situation, to improve food supply, to put in policies that will help to regulate the prices of food, because at the end of the day, it's telling the most on the final consumer, which is the Nigerian populace. And as I said earlier on, current reports, or the most recent report anyway, states that 6 million Nigerians may be pushed further into poverty. And of course, that's not something that we want. All right, so we've come to the end of our show for today, and I would like to thank my guests in the studio. Thank you so much, Mr. Paul, for being a part of the show. And to all our viewers out there, thank you so much for watching. Do not forget to follow us on all our social media platforms. We're on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. All you need to do is look us up at TrustTV. You'll definitely find us there. Well, once again, my name is Chamunda Beng. Come back again for more Business Daily. Let's talk numbers.